Hey everybody, it's Merlin here, and I'm going to do something new once again. I was on my break, so I decided I would try to get another video out to you guys, and this is going to be my first episode review of Hunter x Hunter. Now, this is not my first episode review that I've ever done on this channel. I did review a little bit of Attack on Titan back when that was on last season, but one of the requests by a couple subscribers was to do episode reviews of Hunter x Hunter as it's continuing. So, that's fair. I like Hunter x Hunter, and we're going to see how long I can do this, but the first episode I'm going to review is episode 120, and I believe that is Fake and Real, or Fake X, Real X. You know the whole motif. This was a good episode. There was a lot that was going on, a lot that was happening, a lot of action, and you can tell that the suspense is really still building. We picked up right where we left off, and Knuckles trying to pursue Shoot, find out what happened to Shoot, and meanwhile Morel has engaged in combat with Poof, and he's using his Deep Purple, which is a really awesome technique. I mean, you know, Deep Purple, awesome, man. It's basically his smoke technique where he's creating those smoke clones. But it turns out that his decision to engage Poof in combat might have been a bad idea. He dropped down the barrier, and at least it's implied that way at the beginning of the episode, like, oh no, he made the wrong decision. But Poof decided that he was going to reveal his true technique, and we basically find out even further the extent of his power. Basically, as some of you guys probably already know, Poof is able to basically divide his body into smaller and smaller functions of himself. Like basically he can create many, many tiny clones of continuously decreasing size. And I think they can go down to, I believe they said, 1/1000th of his size. Though the main body can only shrink down to the size of the bee, and that's the main body that controls everything. That's still basically him. But he's using that, and he's able to elude the smoke barrier. And he even steals Morel's pipe, takes it away, and leaving Morel with only a couple clones. Then right as this happens, Menthu shows up and starts fighting him. And so Knuckle and Morel are basically teaming up to try and take down Menthu. And while that's going on, we get a lot of gloating from Poof as he's like, oh, I'm going to explain every single thing about my powers and how he made the wrong decision and how he had a slight chance he could have defeated me and I would have accepted that. But he's like, but now I'm alive. So as usual, he's gloating. He's a pretty cool villain, but like a lot of the Chimera Ants, he's really, really pompous, and he takes a lot of time just kind of reveling in how awesome he is and going over a detailed strategy, which is kind of one of the annoying things about the narration sometimes, which you see in this episode. It's like, and I'm going to explain every single facet of what's going on instead of having the characters actually say it themselves. Yeah, that was kind of one of the little more annoying aspects of the episode. Another kind of minor subplot that's developing, Hina's decided to basically get out of here. She's lost her connection with the king. She doesn't know what's going on. She's going to try and escape and go off and do her own thing because, as we find out, one of the big themes about this arc is the Chimera Ants are slowly gaining their ideas about their identity and their consciousness and finding out what they want to do and not necessarily go along with the idea of the colony and become their own people. And Hina's she's kind of a psychotic, but she's sort of a free spirit in that sense. She's trying to escape, but then she finds the secretary, Bizif. Bizif decides to offer her treasure. He says, oh, I'll give you treasure if you save me. He's like crushed under rubble, and she says, oh, I can't lift that. And then she just obviously lifts it because she's got super strength like everybody else. And he's going to actually use this as an opportunity to escape because he thinks that this is going to lead to a big war, and because his country's kind of been doing a lot of shady things for a while, they're just going to say that the Chimera Ants were basically biological weapons and using it as an excuse to basically destroy them. So he's going to try and escape because he thinks there's only a couple solutions. It's either death or prison, basically. So there's something interesting going on there. Meanwhile, Gon's just basically sitting waiting for people to get healed. You know, and Kaluuya's managed to avoid being seen, so they're just kind of trying to wait for the right moment and just try to stay alive. Though towards the end of the episode, Poof once again comes and confronts them and says, oh, somebody's getting healed. And so I'm sure that some people probably already seen the episode, know where it's going, but I'll catch up with that. Overall, I like this episode. I thought the music was really good, as it often is. It's kind of lately been going back to the original series music, which I like. A lot of flutes, a lot of dark, somber tones, but really orchestral and complex, much like the show itself. The animation's good. I thought the fights were awesome. I think Menthu is awesome. I love how he just creates these spikes, and he looks like just kind of, he has like this really bland design of just being kind of a red human with these ant-like legs, but he's got multiple arms that spread out, and he can like change his form to become more massive and change his skin. And Morel's awesome as well. He's got a really cool technique. I love the smoke technique. Knuckle's kind of more generic, but you know, he's all right. Though this episode was actually pretty good. A lot happened. It was pretty high intense, good pacing. A lot of stuff was crammed into 20 minutes, which I think is awesome. But it kind of made me realize one of the issues I have with Hunter x Hunter and a lot of other of these big shonen series is that it kind of reminds me a little bit like Bleach often has the similar problem where they spend a lot of time building up all these different characters and having such a massive arc that it just kind of deviates from the main character's involvement. Like Gon and Killua are still there, but we'll have whole episodes where they're barely featured. You know, and it's okay. Morel's awesome, and we are getting some of the best hunters fighting. But it's just something that becomes kind of distracting. And you just kind of think to yourself, you know, I kind of wish we could follow the main characters more. And it's not so much the fact that it's just Gon and Killua, but one of the issues I've had with Chimera Ant is that, and really even to some extent Greed Island and other arcs, is that Kurapika and Leorio are like not around. They're just not a part of the story right now. And I'm like, you could easily segue them in, use this as a way to show off their talents and build their characters as well. You know, build their talent as fighters and their character development equally. So I feel like that's just kind of a missed opportunity. And, well, you know, obviously there are some of the elements with the basically going over in long, detailed rants about the strategy and gloating about it as opposed to actually fighting. And it's like sometimes the bad guys and the good guys both reveal their secret techniques to each other. It's a long-standing trope. I mean, they did that back in Rurouni Kenshin and Trigun and Dragon Ball and Hakusho. It's like, but Hunter x Hunter, it's like, I know they like to explain how detailed the powers are. That's something Togashi loves to do and the writers of the show like to do, but I think sometimes we don't need that in the middle of battle or immediately following a battle. One thing about Poof was just he just got so freaking arrogant that he just was like he did a little bow. He did a little bow almost to the audience. Like I don't know, it just seemed really distracting and silly, but it was still a good episode. Chimera Ant still doing really well. I think that they've adapted it pretty well. I actually kind of prefer some aspects to it in the manga. They're really taking their time with it, and it's still got a little ways to go yet. It's definitely got one of the best built plots as terms of all the arcs in Hunter x Hunter probably. I still kind of prefer the Hunter exam and to some extent York New, but I think that overall the Chimera Ant arc is both the most conclusive narratively, like it actually ultimately will wrap up pretty well, and it also has the biggest expanse. Like it goes into a lot of detail, a lot of characters, a lot of henchmen to get through, a lot of twists and turns, good themes. It really develops Gon a lot. So it really has a lot of strengths, but it does have a tendency to drag in. Not all the characters it focuses on are necessarily ones we want to follow, but, you know, it's a mixed bag. So overall, I did really enjoy episode 120. I thought it was pretty good. I think that I'm probably about an episode or two behind. I couldn't watch the episode 121 on Crunchyroll because for some reason it just wasn't working for me today. My connection to my Xbox just was really bad. Sometimes I can't get into Crunchyroll. So I'll probably end up just reviewing 121 and 122 together fairly soon because I think 122 is coming out in the near future. So, hey, my first episode review of Hunter x Hunter, the 2011 series. So, please, guys, let me know what you think. How did I do? You know, what are some things you'd like me to talk about with the series? What are your predictions for future episodes? If they're going to alter anything from the manga. What parts of the manga are you looking forward to seeing the most to be adapted to anime form? You know, what do you guys think about Morel and Knuckle? What do you think about the current bad guys? You know, just all those little details. Please feel free to let me know. And there'll be more videos coming soon to you guys very soon. So, yeah, awesome. Merlin out. Peace.